What's stronger, a dragon or a hand? Well, according to Pokemon, it's a hand! So for a long time now, I have been asked to do this Rayquaza versus Eternatus match. Ever since basically I released the Necrozma versus Eternatus video, which is, for those of you who aren't aware, is like 2 months ago now. So this video has been in the makings for a long time. The reason I put it off is because there are certain things with the series that I wanted to improve, and you guys will see those changes and hopefully improvements in just a moment with the new scoring system. So the new scoring rubric is as follows. Lore is now at a 6 points from its original 8 points. Design is now at a 5, and that has been combined with the shiny category. And then the design category has been broken up into 2 subcategories, the overall looks and then the shiny category. Overall looks is worth 3 points, shiny is worth 2. And those encompass things like the theme, the aesthetic, the overall looks. It's in the subcategory title. Next is the battle category, which is worth 7. And the reason that this is the case is because I think that it is very important for a Pokemon to be strong if they can battle well. And the battle category is broken up into 2 subcategories, the in battle and the out battle. The in battle worth 5 points is basically including things like your base stat totals, your move pools, and your types and type matchups. And it takes all that and it puts it together in a 1v1 situation. The out battle is how strong those Pokemon are against each other outside of the battle system. Now, this could include things like anime, the games, or the manga. But for this video, it will stick to just the games alone because as far as I know, Eternatus doesn't exist outside of the games at the moment. The tiebreakers are in this descending order. It is the fan vote, and the way I guess you earn that single point from the fans is if the vote is split 55-45 percentage-wise. And the reason why is to account for anyone who decides to log on to another account and click the same Pokemon twice. Next is my vote, and if I can't decide with my vote, then it is a draw. So for the lore, I'm going to say this outright. Rayquaza wins. I'm sorry. Rayquaza wins, hands down. And the reason I say this is because for those of you who don't know Rayquaza's lore, at least within the games, 2 Pokemon of absolute just terrible power, just behemoths in their own right, Groudon and Kyogre, are duking it out over who has control over the earth. And in doing so, their battle actually is powerful enough to destroy the earth itself. So Rayquaza waits for the player, and when the player awakens Rayquaza or whatever it may be, and asks Rayquaza for its help, it then saves the planet by calming the 2 legendaries down, and in some cases even overpowering them, which in and of itself is amazing. That on top of the fact that you, in the Delta episode, you actually get to battle and then use Rayquaza in the Delta episode. So you get to battle Rayquaza and then you actually have to catch it, and then you use Rayquaza to battle Deoxys, which you can then catch later on as well. Which, for me, it's not the most original thing in the world, but it's definitely better than what we get with Eternatus in the sense of Eternatus is just your typical Doomsday Pokemon. It's your boring Doomsday, apocalypse, so on and so forth, end of the world. It's pretty self-explanatory. However, what I will give points back for is that in the games, no one actually knows about Eternatus. Eternatus, the whole idea of Eternatus is a complete mystery amongst the people in the Galar region. I almost forgot the name of the region for a second. And so, because of that, I'm going to give Rayquaza 6 points and Eternatus 4 points. So, the boomer in me, because I was born in the 90s, tells me that I want Rayquaza to win because A, that's the dragon that I grew up with. B, it looks freaking cool, man. It's got the color scheme, it's got the looks, it had everything. And then Game Freak decided, no, watch this. And then it gave us Oris, and then just bam! And it's like God tier Rayquaza was just activated. And then it took a cool Pokemon and made it glorious. Like, I don't think anyone is going to bug me here if I give Rayquaza the full 3 points on its looks. So Eternatus, on the other hand, is no slack off in the looks category either. It has a fantastic look, has a fantastic design, and I would have no problem giving it the full 3 points here as well, except for the fact that Eternatus is a hand. A hand! Like, I get the symbolism of it. It's like the hand of destruction or the hand that destroys. kind of the opposite of the hand of God, if you will. There's so many things that Game Freak could have done with Eternatus base design that of all things they decided to go with is a hand for Emax Eternatus. It's like, no, I'm sorry. I don't have a problem with the design of Emax Eternatus. I think it looks fine, but given the standard that Eternatus set, I think Emax Eternatus could have been better, and for that, I am taking off a half point, giving Eternatus 2.5 points in this category. So shinies is going to be nice and easy because I don't think anyone is having any problems here if I gave a black Rayquaza and a black Mega Rayquaza 2 points, the full 2 points for its shiny form. I don't think anyone's questioning that. And on the other hand, the ruby red that Eternatus gets is fantastic. It looks so cool. It looks like a crystal Pokemon thing. It's like a red version of it's like similar to the crystal version of Onix in a way, but it's just the shiny form instead. But I will take off another half point here because of the freaking hand, bro. Next, we have the battle category. The first one being the in battle. So that's the pure mono el mono style 1v1. And here's the thing. What I found doing the math and crunching the numbers shocked me. Shocked me, I tell you. So Rayquaza I thought would win just because of its speed and its attack stats would just go first, one shot, and be done with it. But that wasn't the case. Rayquaza would go first, and it would do massive damage. Except sometimes, and when I say sometimes, I mean most of the time actually, not the vast majority of the time, like 53-47 split percent of the time, it would actually not kill Eternatus, leaving it with like 4 HP sometimes. 4 HP, single digit HP. And then Eternatus would return fire on its turn and one-shot the Rayquaza on that turn. So in other words, if Rayquaza didn't one-shot Eternatus, it would have been one-shot by Eternatus. And it was literally just a matter of if Rayquaza can one-shot first or not. And that only happened less than 50% of the time. And that was made further exaggerated by the Mega Rayquaza versus Emax Eternatus matchup. That was very much the case. Even more so, actually. Rayquaza would do like 500 damage on its turn, going first, mind you. But the thing is, Eternamax Eternatus has 600 plus HP. 600! So while, yes, Rayquaza does massive amounts of damage, like shit tons of damage, Emax Eternatus would be able to soak it, albeit barely sometimes, and just completely one-shot and turn it around. And because of that, because of how decisive the Emax Eternatus versus Mega Rayquaza matchup actually was, I'm going to give Rayquaza only 2.5 points here, with an A for effort though, because of how close it actually was in the base forms. But I'm going to give Eternatus the full 5 points here because of how much the Eternatus, that's a tongue twister, versus Mega Rayquaza matchup swings so heavily in the favor of Eternatus, when it was already leading to Eternatus's favor. So for our final category, we have the out battle, which includes things outside of the battle system. And honestly, it's pretty one-sided here. Eternatus completely bitch slaps Rayquaza. Literally, you have a lizard in the sky, and then you have a giant 100-foot hand. Like, it's not even close. Like, one of them's a doomsday machine, and one of them just clears the weather. Like, bruh. However, I will give Rayquaza some points back because of the fact that it actually manages to beat Rayquaza and Groudon simultaneously. And that, my friends, is no small feat because those two together almost ended the planet. But Rayquaza is more effective against those two than it is against other legendaries in terms of how strong it is outside of the battle system. So because of that, I'm going to give Rayquaza a solid 1.5 points, and Eternatus will have the full 2 points in this category. My friends, this leads us to our conclusion. And for the first time ever since I started doing this series, we have a draw. That's right, we have a draw. The score right now, if my math is correct, and it should be, is 15-15. How we got here? Well, Rayquaza pulled ahead really early because it looked cool. It had the better story. That's all there was to it. But in the battle category, it didn't have what it takes to clinch the victory. Just barely, too. Like, literally, like, it was teeny tiny 4 HP margins, barely. However, was more enough for Eternatus to bring it back. And eventually, we find ourselves drawn at 15-15 a pop. So, this is where we get into the tiebreaker. So, how the tiebreaker works is you guys, the fans, will go into that little eye icon up there in the corner and then choose who you think wins. Obviously, as I said before, the winner is decided by a 55-45 minimum split. So, having said that, thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your quarantine. Please, you guys, stay safe, stay healthy. Comment down below any feedback that you guys have on the series, on the scoring sheet changes, on just anything in the video in general, or just your overall thoughts on the matchup itself. Let me know what you guys think down in the description below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Anyways, that's it from me. I'll see y'all later. Peace.